over.
Hello and welcome back. We're doing a chicken coop build today, and maybe over some subsequent videos as well. We're not sure how long it's going to take, so we might split it up into more bite-sized chunks to make it a little bit more watchable. But we will document the entire experience of building our chicken house, chicken run, chicken enclosure, fencing, cladding, predator proofing, automatic feeding, watering, everything for your viewing pleasure. Particularly for those who might want to build a chicken coop themselves at some point in the future. And if that is you, we're going to be putting a full project plan, including the 3D SketchUp model, into our members club. So details on the screen if you're interested in that or want to join and get involved with making, doing and growing stuff yourself. But today we're going to start the process, clearing the area, which is mostly done, just so you have an idea of what we're going to be building and what it's going to look like. Let me talk you through the plan.
I always think it's useful to give you a sense of where we're going with one of these build videos, and it also really helps me to have a visual idea of what we're creating, but also doing a lot of the problem solving, or as much of it as possible, in advance. Now, what we're looking at here is the SketchUp model for the chicken coop, the chicken run, the chicken enclosure, and there are multiple layers to it. But one thing I'll say from the beginning is this is the original plan, and during the process of the build, we made some modifications to this, some changes, some design improvements, you might say. But since we're right at the beginning of the video, I thought I would show you where we started with this. So I think it's a fairly typical idea with a chicken run enclosure covered in chicken wire or hardware mesh to protect the ladies. We've got a human-sized door here so we can get in to clean it out and to refresh food and water and stuff like that. And then down the far end, we've got the hen house, which is raised up so that they've got some shade underneath and some dust bathing areas. This is also where their automatic feeders and waterers will eventually be installed, but we'll probably have a slightly simpler system to begin with. And then around the back here, we can show you some of the features of the house. So it's very similar in design to the shed that we built last year, a single pitch roof with ventilation holes at the top, again covered in mesh to keep the predators out, but to allow the breeze through. The prevailing wind comes from the west over here and will go straight through the top of the coop, which is great. We do sometimes get easterly winds as well, so this orientation works nicely for that. We've got our nest boxes on the side, and this will have a fold down back panel for access for the eggs. And we'll have another set of doors on the far end. This one at the bottom will fold down for clearing out the litter and the manure and the bedding and stuff like that. And then these doors at the top are actually in two parts, so we can choose to have them completely open or just open for ventilation. Let's quickly talk materials. The foundation frame is made out of larch because it's slightly more weather resistant. But the majority of the framing is actually going to be made out of a product sold as a roofing batten. It's 40mm by 50mm, so almost 2 by 2 inches. We'll also have some sheet materials, some OSB and some onduline, which is a bitumen-style roofing material. And then the whole hen house and some other aspects of the build are going to be clad in some spruce planks. These are irregular widths and have slightly different colouring to them. And so I think it will give a really nice rustic look to this build. Around the other side is nothing too interesting. We've got some more ventilation at the top. And as we come around, we've got a little chicken door with a ramp for them to be able to get in and out. We will also have another kind of chicken-sized door down here so that they can get access in and out of the run rather than having to use the human door. So if we peel back the layers a little bit, get rid of some of the detailing, you'll be able to see the general kind of construction approach that we're going with here. It's fairly straightforward stud wall framing with an OSB floor, an OSB and onduline roof, and the nest boxes on the side also made out of OSB with a little bit of onduline on top. But that's pretty much it, and hopefully it gives you a general idea of how it all goes together. And just in terms of orientation, our compost bays would be over here. There's a big orange tree over here. And off to the left of the screen is where the deck and the shed is, and off to the back over here is where the house is. So now that we've got an idea of what we're building, let's get started.
Nice wood.
That timber is not straight.
The ground is not straight, the timber's not straight. Very rarely is anything straight. But our first step is to build the foundation. We're going to try and get it as level and straight as possible, and then build everything else off of that. So hopefully that gives us a good foundation to work from. But it's probably going to be the slowest, most fiddly, most complicated part. Actually, no, that's probably not true either. But that's what we're going to start with. It's not level. Daniel?
So while you're watching us work and level the ground here, I thought I'd take a moment just to explain why we've chosen this location. So where you can see Guy there near the compost bays will be where we have a deep litter shelf, tray, scrape out zone. And also that's the end where the hen house will be. So we'll be able to scrape out the litter into a wheelbarrow, turn around and then dump it straight onto the compost pile, which was by design. But also the sun primarily comes from that side of the property. And so the sun comes from that direction and moves clockwise around that big olive tree that's on the right-hand side there. So the hen house will cast a shadow in the morning into the run section, and then later on in the afternoon, the shadow will move towards the orange tree. And we will have a door that goes from the enclosed run out to the ground, so near where the orange tree is. And we're contemplating fencing in some of that, but I think to begin with, we'll just let them free range and see which part of the property they like and whether or not it works to have them hanging out under the orange tree. We may alternatively just fence in our vegetable patch and then let them go anywhere that they like. As you watch, you'll kind of get a picture of how the house sits and how the shade sits. We also, on this front face, the face that's now facing you, we will add some roll-up shade cover so that in the really, really hot months, we can roll that down and then they'll have even more shade. So with that explained, let's get back to a bit of hard yakka.
Good. There you go, that's probably too much.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's too high on that side. There, it's good. Cool, let's see if we pulled it into square. Okay, so it's day 2 on the chicken coop build, and we're going to be doing some of the framing for the hen house today. Yesterday we spent a lot of time kind of getting the foundation in place because we wanted to have something really good and strong and solid and level to work from for the rest of the project. So we put in quite a bit of time to getting that just right. There are a couple of things that we're going to come back and fix later on when we've got a little bit of weight on it. So yeah, we're going to do some framing today and see how we go.
No, put it back here. I'm doing them in wall sets.
Okay. So is this one set?
Yeah, we're just doing the last 600 for that.
Okay. Oh, look at that. Moment of truth. Has our measuring got any better?
Well, I measured it.
Oh, okay, so it's probably right.
Thickness of the timber is a bit.
Oh, the thicknesses are all different because
Yeah.
it's rough stone. Yeah.
And how did you design this with the OSB? Two pieces that go together? Or
No,
is
it's a single piece.
Is it a single piece? It's that
Yeah,
wide.
yeah, it's 125 wide.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's why we redesigned and made this,
bigger.
chicken hotel rather than a chicken coop.
125. That's big sheets.
Yeah.
125 and a half.
Yeah, 125. So recently one of our members was asking about material prices because we build a lot of stuff and they're doing projects where they need to build a lot of stuff, also here in Portugal. And one of the things, some things are the same price as they were a year ago when we were building things like the shed and the deck. But one thing that has changed significantly is OSB. When we built the shed, we had tongue and groove panels that were, I think, 695 or 675. I made that mistake before, actually, by 2.5 meters long, and they were €10 a square meter. This is square edged, not tongue and groove, 1.25 meters by 2.5 meters, and it's now €25 a square meter, which is insane. It will be clad, I think. Sure.
Yeah, but you gotta have stairs, ramp, whatever it is.
Stairs, ramp, whatever.
On the front edge.
I'm on the front edge.
Okay.
Are you on the back edge?
No, it's a little bit.
It's a bit off.
It's correct on that one. Down back up on here. That's.
So, just going to do in the corners here.
Yeah, but you can come in a bit.
Oh, actually, we could use a bigger one here to go all the way through all of this.
Okay, we'll get some of those hundreds in there.
Yeah, I can get some of this. So everything has been going very smoothly indeed, but we've made our first mistake, which is for the framing on the back here. This is where we're going to have a fold down tray for cleaning out, and there's going to be 2 windows at the top. But we've framed this just like all the others with a floor plate, top plate, and 2 sides, 2 studs. And we actually don't want this floor plate to be here. We want to be able to scrape out the litter straight from the OSB. So I'm going to take this apart and we're going to recut these uprights so they go all the way from here down to the bottom. Easy mistake to make when you're kind of batching things, but otherwise things have been going really well today, which is cool. The problem is we've actually run short on screws, so we'll probably have to delay finishing all the framing and the roof and stuff like that until we can get some more screws on site. And by the magic of editing, it's now correct.
You know what I like about this project so far is the minimal amount of offcuts. So little scrap left.
have you seen? Little chicken windows. And you're making a chicken door.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Well, how's that working out?
It's got some work to go yet.
Alright. What's going to happen with it? I imagine it's something magical, clever, automatic, mechanical.
Not just yet.
Oh.
Semi-manual.
Semi-manual.
Very manual.
So while we're talking doors and windows and stuff like that, the idea with the doors on the back is they're a two-stage door system. This is not my design, I stole it from somebody else, but I really like it. The idea is that there's mesh on the inside here, and this whole door contraption opens in a traditional kind of door opening style, but then there'll be a door inside of a door. There'll be a solid piece here which you can open, and that will be just for ventilation. So there would still be like a predator-proof barrier. It will just be mesh coming through, so you can open for ventilation, or you can open everything for cleaning. That's the plan anyway. So that's the right one. Alrighty, that's the end of day 2, and the framing's coming on really nicely. We just got the roof to solve, really. A few internal bits and pieces, but most of the framing is done. It's a little bit wobbly at the moment, but when we get all the cladding on and have all the cross bracing, it will tie it all together. It'll be nice and sturdy. And it's definitely a little bit bigger than we originally intended, but we tried to opt for less cutting of the sheet materials. But I think it's coming together really nicely, and I think the chickens are going to love it. Right, it's day 3 on the chicken coop build, and we have a problem. Yeah, maybe it's not so much of a problem, but towards the end of day 2, we were talking about the nest boxes and the chicken door, and it led Kylie to ask the question, how big does the chicken door need to be? How big is a chicken? And so we Googled it. And whilst I had made the door in the design the right size, which is about 25 centimeters by 35 centimeters, we'd actually designed the rest of the coop incorrectly and not giving enough head height for the chickens when they're roosting. So over this side here, this is where the nest boxes are going to be, and they're off the ground because we're going to do the deep litter method, where we just stack a whole load of wood shavings and straw and stuff on the base of the coop. And so the nest boxes will be about here, and then the roosts need to be above that. And then the chickens need 45 centimeters of head clearance above the roosts. So the long and the short of it is, whilst this coop is bigger than we intended in like square meterage, it's not tall enough for our chickens. Now, it's probably okay. There are definitely chicken coops on the market and others that I've seen on YouTube that are smaller than this. But since we're at this stage and we have the opportunity to make some design improvements, we're going to take that opportunity. So it sounds like a big bit of work. It sounds like a bit of hassle, but it's not really that bad. What we're going to do is make this side, which is currently the tall side, the short side, and then we're going to make a new tall side here, which will be about 1 meter 10, and then we just need to recut some studs for the 2 ends, and then we'll be able to continue on. We're also going to use this opportunity to add a little bit more support, rigidity and bracing, because at the moment it wobbles around a little bit, and I would rather it didn't do that, and we can make sure we get it into square and plumb with a bit of bracing. It was all going so well, but this is what happens, and this is what we show you. So I'm also going to go out and buy some screws, because we've pretty much run out of screws, and Kylie's going to get to chopping some wood. we're screwed. So a fun fact, or an interesting fact about Portugal, which is different to how we're used to doing it, is we were used to going into big box stores where you walk down aisles of nails and screws and fixings and hinges and all sorts of stuff. Whereas around here there's usually a counter, but they don't sell screws by the box. They sell them by counting them out one by one. So here I have 180mm long screws, and here I have 260mm screws, and the guy had to count them all out one by one.
They don't even weigh them.
Yeah, they don't even weigh them. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad system, it's just a different system, which makes it interesting. So there you go, fun facts about building in Portugal. Yep, check the bottom like this. Like this.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Tell me?
Yeah, that's good. That's what you meant, right? Not I love you.
You made me laugh. It's nice, sweet nothing. We're not in the middle of a building project.
Good job.
Right.
Let's do this front one. Yeah, good. Sun, 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 sun. Need some sun on my face. Okay, so we're almost back to where we started this morning, which is good because this version is better. It's certainly taller. It's also got some bracing. Doesn't wobble around anything like it used to, which is great. So we have some small modifications to make because our back wall is now taller. So we're going to put in a cross brace to separate the doors and the deep litter tray. But I'm much happier with this in terms of its shape and size. I think the chickens are going to love it. But it's kind of turning into more of a chicken hotel than a chicken coop. So I don't know, we may need to get some more chickens. We probably will get more in the future, but we want to start small, learn all the things that we need to learn, and then we can expand later on. So I guess the roof is up next. And then we can split the difference, but I think it is pretty much.
Well, I know it is.
Yeah.
This is how math works. And we're going to run buttons across, right? To attach the undulating to.
Yes.
Easiest built was a roof we've ever built, I think.
Yes. Well, that's because we did the easy way rather than the difficult way with birds' mouths and
Chicken coop.
soffit and fascia and yeah, it's a chicken coop. So we have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at 4:30. So Kylie is doing some carpentry math because we are at the stage where the chicken hotel framing is coming together very nicely, and the next stage is framing for the cage or the enclosure, which will be similar, go all the way to the end, be covered in mesh eventually, not in this video. Because we've made this slightly bigger than we originally intended, certainly a little bit taller, but also a bit wider as well, It's nothing like the original SketchUp plan that I did, and so we estimated the order based on that, added 20% on top, but we're now a little bit tight in terms of the amount of timber that we've got. So that's why Kylie's doing one of her other favourite things, which is math.
Such concentration.
So if I cut it right and I make no mistakes,
Go on.
we will have one length left and a couple of offcuts of like 1 meter.
Excellent.
So yeah, we will just get this in, I think.
So don't fuck it up. Can you show us your sophisticated cut list?
My very
Bring it closer.
It is the back of a cider packet. You know.
There you go.
No, I want that one as well.
Okay.
I have exactly what I need this for.
Okay.
Can you now put that on
Yes.
the far side base plate there? That's another one. We should have one left, right?
Should be one more, yeah. And
Yeah, and a 119.
a top plate.
Yep. Just organising me wood.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, you need to know the lengths of your wood. And since we're running a little bit tight,
Yeah.
so this is the door, right?
The door will be there. That's correct. Yeah, you might need to offset them.
But I can offset them by just a little bit so that there's
The screw line is
can
still the
still
same.
be the same.
Yeah. Details, my friend. Details.
That's what it is all about.
And then we'll use the spruce to go across these, right?
Uh-huh. This one needs to be tapped into place before being screwed.
Tapped, yes. Got it.
It's not in the right.
Got it. Okay, so I think most of the framing is done. It's not all 100% in place. We have got some minor modifications to make to some of the doors to make space for hinges and give them plenty of space for opening. But I'm really pleased with how it's come together. But yeah, we obviously still have more to do on this. We've got predator proofing, we've got some cladding, we still need to make the nest boxes, and there's a whole load of other accessories and stuff like that for feeding, watering, and things like that. So do stick around for future episodes of the chicken coop build series. They will be coming as soon as we can make them. But that's it for now. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.